Okay, so let's sit for a little bit of quiet together. And let me see if that's my camera that actually looks like that. Maybe I, oh, waiting room. Maybe I got a fingerprint on my camera. Just a moment. And I know you guys will disapprove of this if you're in the field of technology, but I'm going to use my... I should get my eyeglass cloth to do that, but it's in the other room. Okay. All right, let's sit for a bit together, please. So you can rest your hands in your lap, and you're welcome to close your eyes. Himadaga, 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 Himadaga. When you take your seat, allow the process of, we call it dissolving, the process of dissolving the distractions, the obstacles, the impediments to your being here fully. And as you dissolve those obstacles or distractions, also think about, in the course of the practice, you'll want that same capacity to dissolve again and again that which would get in the way, or that which is ready to be, as I said last week, sort of sloughed off, that which is ready to go downstream. Your body does not need to hold it anymore, nor are certain thoughts or patterns benefiting our minds or our perspectives. In supporting this process, it's helpful if our body and mind are working together. So they are integrated or cohesive. They're in agreement with each other, that this kind of dissolving will be beneficial, in fact, necessary. Much like right now in nature, the trees are not trying to hold on to their leaves. They're taking their energy back towards their roots, and the leaf, when it is ready to, loosens itself from its hold on the tree, and it is surrendered to become compost. Let's deepen the breath in the spirit of understanding that this is a part of our yoga practice, this dissolving the obstacles, allowing the composting of that which can't serve us if we keep holding on to it, but that which, when composted, helps us to grow and to evolve. You can make the breath a little deeper into the pelvis, a little wider, into your side ribs, your back waist. Bring the breath also up into your heart. And then exhale with a gentle but consistently deepening tone in your lower abdomen.
Sarahjoy, you're muted.
Okay, thank you, honey. Okay, we'll chant now the Gayatri mantra together. Let's begin. Om Bhuvasubha Tatsavitor Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayata Om Bhuvasubha Tatsavitor Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayata Om Bhuvasubha Tatsavitor Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayata Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha Hari Om. With your exhale, you may bow your head to your heart. Then release your hands, open your eyes. Turn your palms face out so the shoulders roll open and your thumbs will turn out also, a little bit like hitchhiking. So rolling that out. Inhale, raise your arms to shoulder height. Exhale, squeeze your thumbs back, chest and heart forward, open your throat. Inhale to go up, gaze forward. Now exhale, turn your palms face out, press down, open your chest, your heart, and your throat. Inhale, hands to your heart, Anjali Mudra. Now exhale, arms down, palms facing out. Roll your shoulders back, press your thumbs back. Inhale, raise up to shoulder height. Exhale, press back, open your chest, your heart, squeeze the shoulders back. Inhale, raise up. Exhale, press out, palms down, open your heart, your throat, raise your chin, stretch the front of your throat. Inhale, hands to your heart, gazing slightly down. Okay, exhale, press your palms down, turn your palms face out. Now inhale, raise your arms up, shoulder height. And when you exhale, press back and invite the release of obstacles, hindrances, distractions. Inhale, raise up, and as you're raising up, look forward. And then exhale, press out and down, again pressing the obstacles aside. And then inhale, bring your heart, your hands, and your gaze together. And ask yourself during the practice to commit to releasing the obstacles so the mind is not burdened by the distractions, hindrances, the mental mayhem, the dust bunnies of mental habit. It's a big ask. And then please release and come up to table pose. So come forward if you're sitting. And I'll set myself aside, change my camera. Okay. So when you come to table pose, I'm going to ask you to roll up a blanket to go under your knees because we're going to elevate the knees. So if you take a blanket, and even if you take it just from the storage fold like this, and then you roll it, you're going to have this little pad for the knees to go on. So this morning in table pose, your knees will be higher. Yesterday we had the hands higher. This morning it's going to be the knees. Okay, so place your hands shoulder width apart now. And on the inhale, press firmly into a cat pose. Gaze back between your knees. And then exhale, reach back towards child's pose with your knees elevated. You may sense your lower back a bit more. Now inhale, come directly forward to cow pose. So undulate through cat to cow. Bring your heart forward. And then exhale to this cat pose. So use the push reflex to press down, lift your lower belly in and up. Inhale while you're here like a parachute into the back of your body. Okay, exhale, child's pose. Inhale, undulate forward, cow pose. Exhale, use the push reflex with your arms to come into cat pose. Draw the deep low belly in, and inhale to parachute into the back of your body. When you exhale to go back to child's pose, don't move the hands back. So you've got some traction for the upper back and spine, hips to your heels if possible. Once more, inhale, undulate through to cow pose. Exhale, cat pose. Use the strength of your arms and the deep inner belly. Inhale here. Exhale, complete exhale as you go back to child's pose. And now inhale forward to table pose. Okay, place the right hand one little step forward of the left hand as if you're about to start crawling. So that is not a huge step, it's a little step like this. And then once more, we're going to inhale, cow pose, bring your heart forward. Exhale, cat pose, press down through both arms. Inhale while you're here, and without going side to side, exhale, reach back to whatever form of child's pose you can find. Don't expect it to go all the way back, please. And then inhale, roll forward, cat becomes cow. Bring your chest forward, there's more weight in your right arm than your left. Exhale, cat pose, equal weight in both arms. Gaze in towards your low belly. Inhale in the cat pose, parachute the back of your body open. And then exhale, go just about halfway back if you can towards child's pose without compromising left to right. And once more, inhale forward to cow. So your weight's going to come forward more into your right arm than your left. And then exhale, table pose. Step your right hand back, left hand forward. Inhale, cow pose. Stretch the chin forward in cow pose too. Exhale, cat pose. Put the weight equally into both arms. Inhale, parachute to the back of your body. Exhale, reach back towards child's pose without compromising. Both arms are straight and don't go side to side, please. Inhale, roll forward into cow pose. More weight in your left arm than your right. Exhale, cat pose. Evenly distribute the weight in both arms. Inhale to your parachute. And exhale, halfway back to child's pose. No compromising left to right, please. And now last one. Inhale forward to cow. More weight in your left arm than your right. Bring your chin forward. And exhale, step that back to table pose. And then back to kneeling. And what you can do in kneeling is a couple options. Keep your knees on the blankets. tuck your toes under so you're stretching your feet. And this way your hips are resting on the back of your ankles near your Achilles tendons. Or you can point the toes if your feet don't tuck under very well. And just notice any changes, even minor changes that happen from that simple practice. And were you able to have the mental dust bunnies set aside when something unusual was requested of your body? Maybe you found a place of sensation or nuance. Were you able to approach that without narrating it or judging it? Okay, let's keep this blanket rolled. You won't quite know where to put it until we're actually stepping into what we're going to do. So let's make a little guess that you're going to put it somewhere in the middle of your mat, front to back, something like this. And take your 2 blocks. And what you can do is test drive. If you're in your Uttanasana and you step backwards and you want to touch your left knee down to the blanket, and my recommendation is you're touching it down so that the blanket is just above the kneecap right here. So you have that kind of support. So not the kneecap directly. The kneecap will be right behind that blanket. Not on the floor, but in the space between the blanket and the floor. That's what I'd like you to check for. Okay. And when you have a sense that that's appropriately placed, then come up to standing, please. And join your hands together at your heart. Press into all 10 toes and establish the strength of your legs for grounding. Imaduga, 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 Imaduga. Using the Ujjayi breath, inhale. Exhale, chair pose. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, Uttanasana. Complete exhale, including the tone of the deep low belly. Inhale, glide forward through your heart. Rise up to your fingertips, open your throat, stretch your chin. Now exhale, take the left toes back and touch your left knee down to that blanket. And glide your hips forward so you really have a sense of this forward action. Curl the toes of your left foot under and press into those toes so your foot's not flat, it's going to be active. As if you're about to step up on a ladder or take a step up on the stairs. And with that, feel into your left hip flexors, left low belly, left front thigh. As you breathe in, give your body permission to release the residue of the hindrances, whatever they have been. And keeping your pelvis steady, lift your heart, lift your rib cage, lift your arms, rise up, please look up. And then exhale to release, arms wide. Bring your fingertips down to the 2 blocks, and now please straighten both legs. Left leg first, keep the left heel lifted, straighten your right leg, roll the toes of your right foot up. Now we're going to go back and forth between these 2 positions. One is called Anjaneyasana, variation. The other one is called Parsvottanasana, a variation. So please inhale, glide forward, touch your left knee down, keep your fingers on your blocks. Raise your heart and your chin. Exhale, draw your hips back. 2 strong legs, lift the toes of your right foot, bow your head towards your heart. Inhale, roll forward. Raise upwards, so it's a long, smooth breath. Exhale, glide backwards. Left leg strong, right leg strong. The mind humble to your heart. Once more, inhale, roll forward. Use the smooth length of your breath to pace the movements. Exhale to glide back. Now inhale, bend your right knee, float your left foot forward over the minor hurdle and bring your heart forward. And then exhale to bow towards your legs. Okay, inhale, rise up, Urdhva Hastasana. And hands to your heart. Imadoga, 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 Imadoga. Inhale. Meet your pose. Rising up. Uttanasana. Steady legs, lift your inner arches, inner thighs, tone the low belly at the end of your exhale. It's at the deepest. Inhale, glide forward, bring your chin forward, stretch your throat. Exhale, right toes back, step over your blanket. Bring your right knee down so you're at the top of the kneecap, the base of the thigh. Glide your hips forward. Raise up through your heart and your chin. The lift of the chin has to be preceded by the lift of the sternum, the collarbones, the lift of the middle of the sternum. We want tone in the low belly so you're not really hanging in a kind of lax way forward. And float your arms up. Press into the toes of your right foot behind you so you have this little rudder back there. And then as you exhale, arms wide. When you come down, place your fingertips. You inhale, chest and heart forward. Now we follow the exhale. We'll do this about 3 or 4 times. Reach back, raise the toes of your left foot, bow your head to your heart. Inhale, glide forward. And exhale to glide back. Give it like a long drink of water when you know you're thirsty and you want to care for your body. You savor the inhale, savor the exhale. Both parts of the breath are nourishing. And imagine the spine undulating like one vertebrae at a time. So there's a smooth, cohesive action. We're going to come forward now with the left knee bent and step your right foot over that minor hurdle of the blanket. And then bow deeply towards your legs. And inhale, rise up, Urdhva Hastasana. And then hands to your heart. Now please set that blanket aside because it's going to be in your way if you still have it. Your roller is not yet being asked, but it will come in, and I'll show for Karen and others who don't have a roller how to modify. So we're going to be stepping back into downward dog pose now, and when we do it, I'm going to ask you to make a little variation. So let me show you as a profile what that looks like. So when you come into your downward dog pose, I'm going to ask you to take your feet sideways like this. And so what will then happen is you can bend the down leg or the down hip. In this case, it's my right side. So once you take the feet sideways, the left leg here will stay strong, but I can bend the right knee and let the hips have this little bit of ease. So it's not a rigid stance. And there's a little surprise coming from there as we get into that position. So put your innovative mind in, not your habitual mind. And join your hands together at your heart, please. They're dissolving what would get in the way of innovation, for example. Inhale, raise up. Exhale, Uttanasana straight away. Inhale, glide forward. Exhale, blocks aside, step backwards, downward facing dog pose. Place your feet in downward dog so that they're as wide apart as the length of one of your feet. It's a little wider than your hips. Maybe not as wide as your mat though, okay? And then rotate both hips and both heels to your left. So you're going to see that the right heel has come towards the center of your mat. Keep both arms very strong and stable and bend your left knee so your left outer hip comes towards your left shoulder and elbow. Now press firmly into your left arm so you're really lengthening the right side of your waist. Let's try the other side. Straighten your left leg, roll your hips and heels to center. And now turn both heels to your left. So the left heel is at the center of your mat more or less. And you can bend your right knee, keeping the right arm very strong so you're lifting into your left side waist. Notice the quality of the breath and your consistency and strength for the right arm, ease for your right hip, expanse for your left side waist. And then roll this also back to center. Okay, that's your first pass at that. Please inhale and come forward to plank pose. And exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Come onto your stomach from there. And inhale, roll up to Cobra pose. Exhale, glide down, Pranam. Keep the shoulders back. So this is still a little back bend in the heart. And you just bow your head at the end. And inhale, roll up, Cobra pose. Exhale, roll down to Pranam. Himadagha. Inhale, roll up. Exhale, Pranam. Himadagha. Inhale, roll up. And rolling down. Himadagha, Himadagha. Inhale up to seal pose. And now plank pose becomes downward dog pose. Himadagha. Okay, exhale, awkward foot forward, other foot forward, Uttanasana. Root your heels, inhale, rise up, upward hands pose. Exhale to the heart. Okay, now we're going to innovate in that downward dog pose, and I'm going to go to a profile view so that you hopefully won't get lost. Let me see. I think I have to go to the other side of my mat. Okay. I got myself confused. That's why I'm not driving that much. Okay, I mean driving a car. All right, join your hands together at your heart. I think this is the view that you're going to need. So inhale, rise up to upward hands pose. And then exhale to Uttanasana. And inhale, glide forward.
Now step backwards to downward dog pose. Okay, and so I'm going to talk rights and lefts, and I will not be mirroring you. Let's place the feet as wide as the length of one of your feet so that when you shift both hips and heels to your right, your left inner heel you can see in the center of your mat. Bend your right knee. Same thing we just did. So keep the right arm very strong to lift into your left side waist. This whole region from your left hip to your left rib cage. Now put more weight into your right arm and less weight into your left arm, and roll into a little side bend. Pick up your right knee towards your chest. Lift the left side of the waist and use the push reflex of your right arm. And then take the right toes back, left fingertips down, and shift as you roll back to a wide-footed downward dog pose. Now we'll try the other side. So in your downward dog, shift both hips and heels to your left. Keep the left arm steady. And bend your left knee. So you can feel yourself reaching up into your right side waist. Then begin to put more weight into your left arm. Raise your right arm so it goes past your right ear. And lift your left knee towards your chest. Bringing the left knee in is not just to give you one less thing to stand on, but also to broaden the back of your waist more. And then touch your right fingers down, left toes down. Roll that back to your downward dog pose. Okay, inhale forward to plank pose. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Then inhale, roll up to Cobra pose. Lift your heart. Be willing to open your throat, even stretch your chin. Exhale, glide down to Pranam. So the shoulders and the chest kind of stay in Cobra pose, but the forehead bows down. Inhale, roll up. Exhale, glide down. Imadoga. Inhale, roll up. Exhale, down. Imadoga. Rolling up. Rolling down. Hema Durga, Hema Durga. Inhale, seal pose. Lift your chin like a happy seal. Exhale, plank pose becomes downward facing dog pose. Hema Durga. Now touch your knees down. Reach for your original blanket. Put it under your knees. And reach back to your child's pose, making the knees as wide as you need them to be to support the belly to be relaxed, but not so wide that the inner knees feel uncomfortable. Allow your breath to come down into the lower abdomen and pelvis, and consider during the exhale releasing the tailbone, your sitting bones, pelvic floor, releasing any tension that you might sense along the line of your sacrum. Hema Durga. Hema Durga, Hema Durga, Hema Durga. Walk your hands back towards your knees, and once more you can either keep the toes pointed, but if you're able to, tuck your toes under and stretch your feet. So toes are tucked under, which means that the arches of your feet, for those of you who can choose that, the arches are getting a little stretch right now. Press your toes actively down like you're making little toe fossils in your yoga mat. We're going to add to that downward dog, one-legged improvisation. I'll show you here so you guys can stay with your toe stretch. So when you step into this dog pose, you'll take the same beginning stages and the right knee bends, so you've already got the left sideways lifted. And we'll come forward, bring the right knee up to your chest. And then you're going to step this through and press into the outer edge of your right foot. And then we will take the left hand down before picking up the right leg. So you're going to find some of you will sense, oh, the outer right hip gets a stretch there. And then you'll step it back to plank pose. Okay, let's do it together. So downward facing dog pose first, and place your feet so they're wide enough that one of your feet could fit between left to right. Yeah. And then rotate both hips and heels to your right. Turn your left heel to the center of the mat. Bend your right knee, lift into your left side waist there. Yeah. Keeping your right arm stable and strong, begin having less weight in your left arm. Bring your right knee up to your chest. So left arm past your left ear. Now step your right foot through and begin to open, almost like you're doing triangle pose. Now keeping the right leg where it is and your right arm strong, bring your left hand down. Don't collapse onto your right shoulder. You're going to have to stretch the left upper back to place your left palm down. Pick up your left heel and step back plank pose. Now the other side, reach high into your downward facing dog pose. Feet a little wider than your normal dog pose, wide enough for one of your feet to go between. Pivot both hips and heels to your left. Look at the right heel at the center of your mat. Yeah. Bend your left knee, and as you bring your left knee towards your chest, keep the weight in your left arm. Reach your right arm past your right ear. Yeah, very good. And then step your left leg through and open, kind of like side angle Parshvakonasana or Trikonasana. Open the right sideways, strengthen your left arm and your right inner thigh. And keeping the left arm strong, bring your right hand down. So stretch your right upper back to place your hand. Pivot your right heel up, plank pose. And then downward facing dog pose. Walk your hands back towards your feet. Bend your knees a little bit and come into Uttanasana with the hands holding behind your calves. Relax the weight of your head, the burden of the obstacles, the hindrances, the mental dust bunnies, whatever you want to call those things. And then please shift your hands to your hips. Energize your legs, rise up to standing. Okay, and reach for your foam roller. Okay, if you don't have a foam roller, please get 2 blankets to fold to make the equivalent sort of height of the foam roller. And what you'll do is make both blankets, fold them each like this, and stack one on top of the other. So you'll end up with a little stack, it may be about the equivalent height of this foam roller. Okay, so we'll do something very standard for the foam roller first, just to get positioned. So you're going to be on your elbows, whether you're using the roller or the blankets. It's kind of like doing plank pose, but on your elbows. So something like this. So your thighs are supported. In this case, the toes are lifted, but you're on the elbows. And we're kind of in the center of the thighs right now. Okay. Then place your left hand on the floor and roll to your right outer thigh. You're in the middle of the thigh. That is your IT band. And then roll back. And roll a few times. We'll call this rolling right to center. Since we're rolling both legs to the right, we'll call this rolling right, just so we have shared language, and then rolling center. Now as you're rolling, whether you're on a roller or on the blankets, you're going across muscle fibers. You're going left to right, and these muscle fibers that we're addressing are going north to south. They're going top to bottom. Sometimes I like to call our rolling in this direction, I call it east to west. In the body, I'm not talking about the actual directions. If we think of your head as north and your feet as south, then you've got right, left rolling as east to west. And please change to the other side. So you put your left forearm down, place your right hand on the floor, and roll left to center. And when you're rolling, if it's too much to have the weight of both legs on the roller, then you can do one leg at a time. You would step the right knee forward, and it would not have to be weighting your left leg when you're rolling. You step the right toes forward, excuse me. But if you want to do both legs together, and your body is breathing smoothly, then you have that option. And now bring that back to the center. And watch here, please. If you're on a roller, you can walk yourself backwards. If you're on the blanket, you have to reposition yourself. And now we're going to roll to the right outer hip, and I'm going to ask you actually to lie down. So what I want you to check is you're on the right outer hip, and if you were to bend both knees, the roller has your sitting bones higher and your waist a little bit lower. Okay. Same thing for the blanket. So when the knees come up to the chest, you're rounding your lower back. Knees can come towards your left elbow. When you open the knees away, you're going to feel the right outer hip on your blankets or your roller. Repeat that. Okay. So just to be giving one more landmark, the bone you might be feeling at your right outer hip right about here is called the greater trochanter. And I'd like that greater trochanter to be either just past the apex of your roller towards your feet, or kind of at the apex of the roller, but I don't want the greater trochanter to be on this side of the roller, because you'll be feeling like you're about to fall off the roller. So when the knees come to the chest or the elbow, that's your deep abdominal strength. When you come through here, little rotation, little pressure at the right outer hip and thigh. These are your abductor hip flexors that you're addressing. So right here you've got the part of the piriformis. Now you have the TFL, and then you have the sartorius. When you roll back, you're crossing insertions. Yep, how delicious. And one more time. And then roll that through. Last one. Bring your knees to your left elbow. Okay, and let's go to the other side. So you roll to your left outer hip. I'll come forward so you can see me better. And then you can lay down on your left arm. And roll your knees up towards your chest, towards your right elbow, and then roll them back. And you roll to the outer left hip and then towards the inner. So here you're more towards the back of the pelvis, nearing the sacrum. And when the knees open and roll away from your chest, you come towards the interior of the pelvis. Please keep breathing smoothly. This is medicine for your body, not torture. Imadaga, 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 Imadaga. Okay, last one. Knees in towards your elbow. And then release and rise up to where you can see me. Or fall on the floor and look towards your computer where you can see me. I don't mean to torture you guys, you know, I care about your well-being. This is not actually torture. So now we're going to step back into that position called Anjaneyasana, and we're going to use the roller in a specific way. Let me give you a little preview. So the blocks are to help us further stretch the side of the waist. You'll see that in just a moment. The roller is going to be near to the outer thigh where you were just rolling a bit ago. So if I show you with my left foot forward first, it'll make more sense for how I'm set up. So here I have my right thigh on the roller. It reaches, maybe I have short legs, so it reaches the roller, or maybe it's how deeply down my hips go. The blocks are on the medium setting. And what I'm going to recommend is that we place the right hand firmly on the block and roll towards your outer right thigh. At that point, you can turn the left toes and the left knee a little bit to the left, and you can feel into the right side waist here. For those who want, if you have a roller, you can also roll. If you're on a blanket, you'll not be able to roll because it doesn't do that. The blanket is a beautiful device, but it doesn't roll. So you'll just have this side stretch right through there. When you're rolling, if you're doing the roll, and when you're rolling back, you might sense how that influences your left hip or your left inner thigh, the groin muscles. And if you're rolling along the IT band, which is where we are, you're actually near the IT band and probably the seam between the iliotibial band and the quadriceps. And that can be kind of provocative. Himadaga, 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 Himadaga. Okay, now bring your pelvis to face more forward and see if you have the capacity to come down to your elbow. So the left knee and toes are pointing out to the left. So I have to tell Stephanie, I'm having a memory of being in a class together at Goodnestad Yoga Studio and doing these sorts of things, not with rollers, we didn't have them, and then recognizing each other as bendy Wendy's in the same classroom. I think our friend Janice was also there. We were all about the same height, bendy Wendy flexibility. We were the ones smiling about these activities and other people were moaning. So I'm just giving you that memory for a moment. So when you're here and you have a roller, you actually can do this as a rolling activity.
And with the left foot out to the side, the left knee out to the side, I do hope you sense the inner thigh gets a chance to also open. Okay, and now we're going to change sides. I just give a little opportunity for my other bendy Wendy friends, including Stephanie. You can take the left leg out straight for a moment. That isn't everybody's yoga, I understand. And then we have to step back. Let's go to plank pose. And then try the other side. So touch the knees down, take your right foot over the roller. I'll spin myself about. So you're coming into Anjaneyasana now with your right foot forward. And place your left hand on the block. Turn the right toes and right knee out to the side. And certainly valuable if you don't have a roller, just to be a little bit of pressure at the outer left thigh on the blankets and to feel the side waist, your left side waist, your left quadratus lumborum. It's a major lower back muscle that's responsible for side bending, back bending, and rotating. If you are on a roller, you can be playful about it. One thing I miss about Zoom classes relative to in-person classes is that when we do these sorts of activities together at the studio when we were there, the shared moaning and sighing and the laughter is very helpful. So you have to try to recall and also imagine that other people right now are also having their realizations about their IT band. And the seam of the IT band and the quadriceps. Some people are mostly experiencing their quadratus lumborum or their side waist. That is a part of the process too. And let's see if we can bring it down to both elbows. So check that your right foot and right thigh, they're out to the side. And you may be someone just resting on the two blankets folded, or you might have a roller and you can go a little bit, what I'm calling north to south. This is like rinsing the sponge in the sink, you know, rinse, squeeze, rolling it, getting some of that movement to the sponge of your body, all the sponge-like places. So if you'd like to experiment, you can take the right heel out. It's out to the side. Not everybody will have that capacity, that's okay too. And then see if you can place both hands on your blocks and curl the left toes under, push down, and step back to plank pose. And then knees down. And the beloved roller. Oh, thank you, roller. Thank you for helping us with our health and well-being. You give it some affectionate taps. Thank you, roller. And let's get ready to have your body now rest into the medicine you just created. So if you have one of these blankets to fold like I had recommended for those who didn't have a roller, let's just take one blanket. If you have your roller still nearby, you could use it under your knees for this Shavasana. We're going to do a short breathing practice in position to then have ourselves drop down. You'll need your blanket, a block, and if you want to, a roller for your knees. So sit in front of, not on your blanket. Lie back. Place the roller under your knees. Take the block, it'll be on the flat setting, it goes under your head. Like this. want that to feel like you've now got contact at the neck. The entire neck feels the blanket that is supporting you. And roll your shoulders under. Now where you have yourself placed, because the blanket is more narrow, the shoulders can fall back towards the floor. So keeping your left shoulder releasing towards the floor, rotate your head as far as it will go comfortably to your right, and gaze down kind of past your right hip. So your head is going sideways but also into a bit of flexion as you gaze down past your right leg. Breathe into the left side of your neck. You roll this back to center, and then roll your head as far as it will comfortably go to your left. Drop your right shoulder back down towards the floor. And roll your head to center. Now, breathe in through your nose while your head is centered. Make it a long breath cycle that includes the low pelvis, mid-torso, and then up into your heart and your collarbones. Hold the breath for a few moments there. Rotate your head right as you exhale out the nose. Inhale to center. You're going to hold the breath at the top. Exhale, roll left. Inhale to center, holding the inhale at the top. And then exhale out through the nose, long, steady, and smooth. You are delivering yourself to your Shavasana practice now. Take your gaze down into your pelvis and your lower belly. And let the eyes become relatively still, gazing down at nothing in particular, only having a sense of coming back home to the pelvis. Welcome your body to release that which is ready to flow downstream. Also welcome your body to receive that which can come in the empty space made available in the release of that which is ready to go. eyes to be really still, resting in the home of the pelvis, not looking for anything in particular, only resting. Allow your mind and your eyes and your physical body to come to greater and greater stillness. You can allow the eyes to be still. Encourage your mind to be at home in the pelvis, not looking for anything in particular, only resting. If you have moments where your mind wanders, just gently bring it back. A few moments more of this opportunity for stillness. Imadoga, 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 Imadoga. You may lightly just become aware of your breath, that breath which is breathing you even when you're not noticing it. Now bring noticing to it. And you may lightly wiggle your fingers, your toes. And bend your knees when you're ready to, and please roll sideways. And then use both hands to bring yourself up to sitting. Consider who we can become, who we are, who we can become when the obstacles are understood and resolved. Bring your hands to your heart, please. Imadoga, 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 Imadoga. Thank you very much, everyone. Namaste. Thank you for your time here this morning to be a part of a community practice, even though we're still sheltering in our homes. We have a home together. Call it the word Sangha. We have a home together. I will come up where I can see you closer now. You might be hearing the sound of my computer fan, which will not turn itself off. I have to take the computer into the store to find out what's going on. All these things, right?
Hi, Sarahjoy. Can you write down